and you're 99.9% sure that you're going to give up, that you're going to give in, I was done. But then I looked in the mirror and I said, no, not today.
A lot of people think their content is going to sell their product. It's not like that. We still have to like make sure that we have those conversations.
One thing that I love about the book is that I will act now. And then the second thing is I will greet this day with love.
We've got some fresh
I'm
new
Luis.
young talent
And I'm
doing some things that I know
Luis.
you
And
haven't
you're
heard
listening to the
before.
Content is Profit podcast.
So how do businesses and creators like us, who did not cheat with hacks and tactics and don't want to be stuck in the content wheel of death, how do we build a modern media team and profit from our content?
In this creators economy, pre-filled templates and content calendars have become the solution for those that are not willing to put in the work and build a real business. Those that get rewarded are the ones that create and control their own process.
That is right, and content can either be the biggest distraction or your biggest lever. Here, you learn to develop the systems to create consistently. Get the attention of those that are willing to give you money.
Go to contentisprofit.com and join the community. Join us. Join everybody. Let's go. Let's make it happen.
Let's do it. Let's make some noise.
I know. Let's go. That noise? Yeah.
That noise.
Hey, tell me, Fonzie, what are we talking about today?
I actually skipped a part of the intro.
It's all good.
It's all good, guys. Today we're actually we're learning from the podcaster of the year 2020. Ooh, I'm excited.
Baby.
I'm very excited. I think there's a lot of lessons actually. Once we do the intro for the guests, you're gonna see that there's a lot to unpack here.
By the way, huge shout out to our live audience today. Mike, what's up? How you doing, man? Thank you for tuning in live. Everybody tuning in live, put hashtag live right there. Let us know you are in here. And if you're listening, go tune in live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday around 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Hey, do we have a sponsor today, Fonzie?
Indeed, we do. I was waiting for your question, good sir.
You're welcome.
Today's sponsor is your own, the BIZBROS with content momentum. Yes, we sponsor our own show. And if you produce a long-form piece of content, just like this one that you're listening to or watching, and you want to multi-purpose it, or you need a plug-and-play team to maximize your effort, we're here for you. Slide in the DMs at BIZBROS Co. on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on TikTok, on Twitter. You name it, we're there.
Your favorite platform, we're there for you. Hey, follow the show, please. Give us a little push in there. You know, your favorite podcasting platform. We're on Apple, Spotify, literally everywhere. Just go ahead, follow the show, because every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, these audios are dropping on your phone with incredible value and action points for you to take action, take your business and life to the next level.
That is right. And if today's guest help you move one step forward to your goal, which I am 100% sure he's going to do that, please don't forget to share this episode. You might be doing the exact same thing for somebody else. And don't forget to leave a 5-star review.
Today, guys, we have a special guest with us today. We met him through one of the mastermind groups we're part of, and he is here to share his wisdom with you.
That is right. He's actually a keynote speaker, coach, and corporate trainer. His passion for elevating others to reach their full potential is unrivaled, my friend. Trust me, today's guest will always be in your corner.
Not to mention, he won the 2020 Podcast of the Year. He was also voted top 20 executive coach, and he's an award-winning keynote speaker who is known for his prophetic coaching.
Interesting. I can't wait to learn more. Please welcome host of the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, the one and only Daniel Gomez.
Hola, ¿cómo estamos?
What's up, Daniel?
Man, I tell you what, I'm pumped up. I'm excited. It's an honor to be here on Content is Profit, baby.
Let's go. We should have started the show today with this one, man.
I know, true, right?
We got everybody dancing over here.
Yes,
All right,
yes.
we can leave this as a background for just a little bit.
I think you gotta lower a little bit for that.
I guess we're partying all the time. Hey, Daniel, we have been literally chasing you to be on the show probably for like about 3 months. So thank you for coming on. No, I'm kidding. Like we're part of this incredible community together, and finally we were able to coordinate a day. Again, I just want to say thank you, because I've seen what you've done. I've seen the community that you're part of. I've seen the things that are coming, that you're doing every single day. You're a family man. So why don't you share a little bit with us why you started to do what you do today?
Man, Luis, you know what? It's sometimes we think we have everything together. Tenemos todo junto, ¿verdad? But we don't always have everything. In our own mind, we think that it's good, but then guess what? You have to put on the shades of real life, right? then real life happens, and then your wife has breast cancer, and everything that you knew or thought you were seeing was wrong. And for me, when my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer 4 years ago, I was on top of the automotive industry, making a lot of money, but I realized I had a lot of things wrong. And that was, I needed to put God first, my wife, and then my family. And from resigning that to take care of my wife after having double mastectomy, then the Daniel Gomez Inspires brand was born. I started speaking, but people laughed at me. People are going to laugh at you. And they laughed all the way. But guess what? By the grace of God, I had the last laugh because I'm here on the Content is Profit Show live.
Let's
and
go.
I'm sharing my story because you know what? If este Latino sí se puede ser, todo se puede ser, right? We can all make it.
Yes.
But the thing is this, so many times people laugh at us and we give up on our dream because people think that we're crazy, and you can't give up on your dream just because people laugh at you. And now, by the grace of God, I'm the one laughing because I'm still here 4 years later when many people have given up, Luis.
Wow.
Powerful.
Yeah. I mean, let's talk about quitting, right? Just like you mentioned, some people give up, and clearly you've for many years now you standed, let's say, the test of time. What do you think is that main push, right? Like, what is that differentiator between those people that are giving up and those that are keep going, right? I mean, we've noticed trends in the podcast here where some people is maybe amount of pain or amount of inspiration that they got or purpose, right? Their why. But I'm curious on your point of view, right? Because you work a lot with people, right? Elevating them to be their best self. What is it, right? What is it that keep people going through hardships, through other people laughing at them?
Well, I think this is one thing that people need to start seeing differently, and it's the word problems. When problems come into your life, think about this. Problems elevate us. Problems promote us when you see them from the right perspective. But when you see a problem as a problem, that's when you start to complain. That's when you start to murmur. That's when you start to see things from the negative standpoint. But think about this. We had a problem with phones many years ago. Somebody said, I'm tired of having this phone on the wall right here, right? I don't want it on the wall. So somebody said, I'm going to make a phone that's going to be held in my hand. And they laughed at them, right?
Yeah.
But what they did is they solved the problem. So when you start seeing a problem as an opportunity, right? This is a key. I want your audience to write it down. When you see a problem as an opportunity to showcase your genius, a problem is an opportunity to showcase your competency and to showcase your wisdom. That's all the problem is. And the best people that showcase that wisdom at the right time in the right way, that's for the problem, those are the ones that get promoted. Those are the ones that people want to be around. Because nobody wants to be around a complainer and a whiner. I can tell you, Luis and FONZI, nobody wants to be around complainers. Well, nobody, get out of here, right? But you know what? Maybe the computer's not working. Did we try to turn it on, right? Let me solve a problem for you. The great problem solvers are the ones that make the most money.
Yeah.
Because this is the thing. When you start seeing problems as an opportunity for promotion and growth, that's when you start bringing quality to the marketplace. And many people out there want that instant, that gratification without even bringing quality to the marketplace. And those are the ones that don't last the test of time, and they give up because they think it's going to be done overnight, and it's not. You have to be a great problem solver. And then the second thing I would say to that is you got to have the faith. For me, it's having faith in God, knowing that He's going to help me along the way, because there's many times I wanted to give up. This is a quote that I came up with in one of the other groups. That the guy said, man, I never thought about it that way. I said, you're not a real entrepreneur, FONZI, until you're in the bathroom crying, estás llorando en el baño, and you're 99.9% sure that you're going to give up, that you're going to give in. I was done.
Yeah.
But then I looked in the mirror and I said, no, not today. Until you reach that point of 0.1% that you're done, right? You're already 99.9%. I was sure I was going to give up, but I didn't. You have to hit that point, because at that moment, the world's going to say, this guy wants it. The BIZBRO brothers want it. All right, let's open up some new doors. But until you reach that point, because most people don't want to go all in. I talked to this guy said, man, how much are you willing to bet on yourself? Are you willing to walk away from your career to start your business? And the ironic part is he said, no, I'm not. And that's why people give up, because they're half-hearted. They don't, no lo quieren, ¿verdad? So there's so many variables, but I would just say become a great problem solver. The one that solves the biggest problems people want to be around.
Yeah.
And then just really look at every problem as an opportunity to showcase your genius, Fuzz. That's what I would say to that.
I love it, man. I love it. You mentioned that moment where you're in the bathroom crying. Like I've experienced a few of those, right? Like, and the why is so big, right? That we keep pushing and we keep doing. And just recently, I remember having a conversation with people in my own family, right? They were asking, but why are you going through all of this, right? Because it hasn't been like going up 100%, right? Sometimes goes up, sometimes goes down. Things happen, right? Like challenges are put in front of you, right? And we keep going. And for us, we have obviously our family, which our family is still back home. We want to provide, we want to be able to help as much as possible, because they helped us literally go and chase our professional soccer dream, right? And we've talked about this on the show before, and we're like, that is so much more. And like, I don't need the approval of anybody around me. Like, I love the fact that most of them support us, right? Support our journey, especially my wife, Katie, like she's right there. But at the same time, like, you will have those moments where we feel alone, where we're like the only one. So community for me, for example, has been one of the key elements, and being able to connect with people that are going through that journey, right? To help each other out. And you mentioned the bigger the problem, right? The bigger the reward as we fix those and we move forward. And that's something as an entrepreneur, we gotta find out, right? For years, we tried different things, different methods, different products, different services, right? From here on out. And finally, we found what we're really good at and the problem that we're solving. And we're giving time back to people, which is so important. You don't get time back, right? So, and then yesterday, I remember I was with my son, Luke, and we were watching this movie, Hercules, right? From Disney. And there's a scene. Yeah, let's go. Show the guns, Fonzie. You have guns? No guns.
I lost my guns in the last 3 weeks. I need to hit the gym.
So there's this scene where, he's in front of Zeus, right? And he's like, hey, Dad, I'm ready. I'm ready to go back to be a god, right? And Zeus says, hey, you're still not a god. You gotta go through this moment, right? And I cannot tell you. You have to go through that moment and identify that moment. And he's like, but I don't understand. I don't like. How do I find that moment? And then Zeus like disappears, right? And then there's this moment in the movie. Spoiler alert for those that haven't watched it. This was like 20 years ago, right? He lost his powers, and then this girl that he was in love with like tries to save him, right? And then this like a big rock falls on her, and then he starts to try to lift this rock, right? And then he finds himself and he finds his purpose, right, in one of the lowest points of his life. And yesterday I was watching it with Luca, and Lucas too. He's probably not understanding all this meaning, right? But it's so important. And then you mentioned this, right? And us as an entrepreneurs, there's sometimes that we're gonna feel like we lose that power, right? But then we gotta push through. We gotta believe. We gotta, be 100% sure that we're gonna solve that problem, that we're gonna move forward, and have that blind confidence that things are gonna work out. So I want to say thank you for bringing that point on, because it's been a while since we've had such an honest explanation of what that is, especially with you. So from that moment, Danny, like how do you figure out what was your superpower? Like, because coming from the automotive industry, right, there's a lot of problems that maybe we can solve, right? How do you choose where to go? Sometimes we get lost, right, in the process. How do you choose where to go?
For me, when I came out, it was to be a motivational speaker, and people laugh. They go, "Well, you know how many Mexican motivational speakers there are? Latino motivational speakers?" I'm like, I don't know. They're like, exactly. There's none. Like, what? But I didn't care what people said, because I knew that the God behind me was greater than the task in front of me. And as I went forward, I just kept taking action. And I think somebody needs to hear this watching the show. The smallest action every single day is going to give you the greatest results. The smallest action. And I think back to the first book I ever read on sales was Og Mandino, right? The greatest salesman in the world is, I will act now. That needs to be your attitude. I will act now, not tomorrow, not in a week, not in a month. I will act now. And maybe you don't know everything you need to know, but I promise you, if you keep going forward, sooner or later, you're going to run into the BIZBROS brothers, and they're going to put you on their podcast, and then that's going to take you to another level. But you're never going to meet the people you're supposed to meet in life if you stay still, because God doesn't bless a moving target. You got to keep moving forward. You got to keep moving to the left, moving to the right. Yeah. So for me, it was really, so many people as I came out, they could see the charisma that I had. They could see that I was outgoing, and right away they want to recruit you for multi-level marketing. They want to recruit you for this. Like people, you get these inboxes on LinkedIn. Hey, what about this? And I think so many people were so easily distracted to the left and to the right, and then the dream that they had, they look for that quick dollar. And you and I both know if you water down your efforts every single day, you're going to get watered down results. Let me say that again. If you water down your efforts every day, you're going to get watered down results. And for me, it was really saying no to John and Jane. You know what? I don't want to be in selling vitamins. I don't want to be a financial planner. I don't want to be this. You got to say no to things.
Yeah.
I think so many of us, we get desperate in that moment, and you forgot why you came out, and you get sidetracked and you go on the wrong path. And next thing you know, you're not doing what you were supposed to do. And for me, I just stayed. I knew that I wanted to be a speaker. I was raw. I sucked, right? I really did. When I came out, I looked at a YouTube video. My friend goes, dude, I wouldn't have hired you. I said, man, I wouldn't have hired you. I wouldn't have hired myself. But I was being honest.
Yeah.
But I knew that I could train in sales. And I said, let me get some content together. I put a little workbook together. I went knocking on doors. And the rest is history. And then from there, I became a better speaker, started speaking more and more live. And by the grace of God, I spoke live with Les Brown, Tom Bilyeu from Impact Theory, and the rest is history. And here I am. You just gotta, but from that main revenue of streams, so many people we get multiple streams of income, but you can't do that from the get-go. My main revenue stream was speaking.
Yeah.
And from speaking then came training. And then from that, we wrote our book, You Were Born to Fly. And then from You Were Born to Fly came our podcast. And now we have all these revenue streams that produce great revenue for us. But it started with the speaking that we got strength and that supported, right? That was the trunk of the business.
Yes.
And then the branches came out, and that's where we are for today. So I would say you got to find one thing that you love, that you're passionate about, and that you have to be willing to sacrifice. And I would even say this, right? When you become a realtor, you have to have 6 months of income. They tell you to have it on the side. I would say if you're going to become an entrepreneur, as soon as you step into the gate, you got to have 6 months to a year revenue, money saved up, because you're going to want to give up. You're going to quit. And you know what the secret to success, in entrepreneurship is? If you can just outlast the competition 6 months to a year, you're going to be in the top percent before you know it. Just outlast them, because they're going to give up. But if you outlast them before you know it, you're going to go up, and you're going to be in the top 50%, then 40%, then 30%. Then it's now Daniel Gomez. They know me as a speaker in the speaking world, and from there I just kind of branched out from that point.
I love it.
Absolutely, yeah. I do believe it is an endurance game, right? I mean, that one that can stand there for the longest time without giving up, and like you mentioned at the beginning, right? Taking those small steps. It doesn't have to be a huge win. It might look like a huge win for those on the outside. Right, for the person that is building it, it takes time, right? There's no such thing as overnight success. Daniel, I have a question. You mentioned a book, the first sales book that you read. What is it? So we want to put it in the resources tab for people to read as well.
Yeah, so it's Og Mandino, the greatest salesman in the world, and it's a beautiful book, because it really. This is the thing, is one thing I didn't realize it when I first read that book 20 years ago. I'm actually rereading it right now. What I didn't realize is that you can have all the skill set you want, no matter what right? You can be the best baker, the best mechanic, you can be the best salesperson of any of software. But if you don't have the resilience, if you don't have the ganas, if you don't have the corazon, you're gonna give up. If you don't, you gotta have ganas, you gotta have the corazon. Si no tienes, no vas a durar. You're not gonna make it.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that as I read it now, I'm like, wow, that helped me build that resilience. That helped me build that bounce back. Because one thing that I love about the book is that I will act now, and then the second thing is I will greet this day with love. And when you greet every day with love and helping people and serving people, it's gonna come back to you. And just the way right now, right? Y'all welcome me to your show, and y'all are welcoming and loving. You're sowing that seed, so guess what? It's going to be reciprocated back. But so many times we just think it's about the transaction when it's more to that. So I would definitely get that book, because it definitely helped me with the resilience.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. For you listening right now, make sure you scroll down, tap the link right there in the resources, and get yourself the book as well. And we're also gonna leave. Daniel, is your book out already for sale?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. Actually, this is a one for self-leadership. You were born to fly.
Yes.
And then there's another great sales book called Sticker Shock. It's
All
called
right.
the Day You Realize You're Worth Millions. You know why most people don't make sales calls? Because they undervalue who they are. And many entrepreneurs, they undervalue themselves. And when you undervalue yourself, you always undercharge. You don't ask what you're worth. And then you don't take the actions that you need to offer your products. You say, you know what? I'll give it to you for free. No, if you bring value to the marketplace, you have a right to ask for what it's worth. Think about that. Rolls Royce don't have a problem asking you for $500,000 for their cars. Why? Because they know that the value.
Yeah.
And when you bring value, that's what I talk about sticker shock, because most people, they feel unworthy and undeserving. And that's what we talk about in the book Sticker Shock, because when you open up your heart to realize, you know what, I have a right to get paid for what I do because I bring value.
Yeah.
And everything else takes place. But yes, my books are available on Amazon. So definitely.
Let's go.
Awesome.
By the way, we're going to put all those links
Yep.
right below. So, Daniel, don't forget to send us those links and make sure that we put them in there.
Okay, Daniel, I wanted to cover a little bit about the multiple streams of revenue that you were talking about. I love the fact that it's kind of like you need to focus on going on one step at a time, because I feel a lot of people are like, oh, I need to get multiple streams of income, and then just try to diversify. Their attention goes everywhere, no focus whatsoever. We were victims of that, right? And finally, when we managed to focus is when we actually started growing. But now you mentioned why people don't do sales calls, right? And you said because they undervalue themselves. I'm going to tell you, I don't undervalue myself, but this hit a little hard because I'm not honestly too confident on making sales calls, right? I mean, I'm pretty good at sending Instagram DMs, right? And sending videos to people and connecting with them. But when it comes to grabbing the phone and making a sales call, there's something in there. So I'm curious, right? I'm curious on why do people might be undervaluing themselves? Is there some fear of some sort, right? And maybe what are some actionable steps people can do to start either picking up that phone and or getting in more sales calls?
Well, you know, it goes back to I think for me being a Latino man, I can say this because I'm one. It's like, you know, sometimes we do some crazy stuff in our youth. We do some crazy stuff in our life. And next thing you know, guess what? We're carrying around two friends that we don't want. One friend on this side, otro en este lado, right? Shame and guilt. And we carry this shame, we carry this guilt. And then next thing you know, we start to condemn ourselves and we don't forgive ourselves. So it's like, you know what? It's okay. I'm just not going to make my call today, right? You don't feel worthy and deserving of success because you start going up the ladder and all of a sudden you start to sabotage yourselves because you've had more success. Right now you got the spotlight on you, and most people ain't used to having the spotlight on them, and then they retract and they try to dim the light and they sabotage because they don't feel worthy and deserving. And for me, it was really forgiving myself because I had the skill set, but it's really forgiving myself for just past mistakes that I've made and failures. Just because we fail doesn't make us a failure. Just because we make a mistake doesn't make us a mistake.
Yeah.
But when you have that keeps you subconsciously many times from making that phone call, right? They don't need my services. I ain't gonna make a difference. We just think this stuff, right? Or we think this is a thing. Another thing is we think we're bothering people. You're not bothering people. If somebody interacted in your content, if somebody asked a question, that means they wanted. We're not used to asking for business a lot of times, right? We go through the whole sales presentation, and then this is the dumbest question we ask, Fozzie, is we ask this, right? What do you think? ¿Qué crees? Right? No, that shouldn't. Your question should be great. Did you want to get one book or two books? Right? Well, one or two.
Yeah.
But we don't ask that question. We ask, well, what do you think? What do you think the client's going to say? Well, let me think about it. Right away, you led yourself down the wrong path. We ask a dumb question, we're going to get a dumb answer, right? We're going to get the answer we're not looking for. When you got to ask them, great, did you want to get one or two books today? Did you want to go ahead and get that for your wife also, right? Whatever product or service you're selling, you always gotta ask for the business, because this is, you get 0% of the business that you don't ask for.
Absolutely. I love that, and I'm going to relay that to content a little bit. Actually, this morning I was listening to a podcast from Victor Antonio. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He has a sales podcast, and he was actually talking about kind of like what question to ask to an inbound lead when they come, right? And when they come to you and they are like, okay, what is it that you do? He said, first you need to ask him back, well, what is, what research have you done on me? And then they're going to come back and they're going to give you 3 answers, either none, so, or they have done a lot of research and they're very indoctrinated, right? And that got me thinking, I'm like, okay, if they start doing research on you or on us, can they find out what is it that we do? Super simple, right? How can we help them, right? And you just told them right now, I said, hey, I know I can help you. I have this confidence. And then you just make that offer out there, right? And I think a lot of people are creating content and not necessarily telling how they can help people on the other side, right? And I started thinking it with our content, actually. And I'm like, wow, like, we do say it a lot, right? But it's mostly on the live show right here when we're talking at the very beginning, at the end, maybe throughout the conversation. But I started realizing it's like, or content, some of the content that we have published might not be the best one to tell people what is it exactly that we do and how we help them, right? So I think that is extremely valuable what you're saying, right? It's like you need to have that confidence at the end of the day and put yourself out there, make offers, because if we don't make offers, we're not going to manage to get anybody to help anybody at the end of the day, right? I mean, we had Chris Doe here on the podcast and he said, just refrain the word sales is help, right? Instead of like, oh, I'm selling this. Oh, I'm helping this person, right? And I was like, oh man, I love it. It's kind of like your reframe problem with opportunity, right? And I think those little triggers can do so much for us. So relating what you just shared to us right now, relating it to content, I think people need to get used to it, get used to making more offers, putting themselves out there and saying, hey, this is exactly how I can help you. And I believe one can help build that confidence to then when you get on the sales call, you're even more confident about it. And you're like, do you want 1 book or 2 books? Right?
Yeah. And I love what you said, because over 90% of businesses fail because they never learn how to sell. They think because they're a great mechanic, they're a great artist, they're a great this. Even if you're a great artist, you have a great portrait. You can have the best show, right, in the museum, the most beautiful museum, but if you never say, great, which portrait did you want to take? This one or this one, the Mona Lisa, or you want that other gentleman, I can't think of his name right now, but right? But yep. You never ask for the business. You never ask for the sell. You have to ask for it. And most people, they feel, how can I say it? This word always comes out. When somebody says sometimes that you sound salesy, what they're really saying is, man, I wish I could sell. Because they don't see it within themselves, right? They don't see that within themselves. And one thing that I do is I'm not apologetic for asking for business, because I know I can help them. They need my help. But I think just being here, now I got to start saying more, right? Right? I can help you with this product. I can help you with this service. Not that you're going to sell them, but they relate more to the word help. So I think that helps to reframe the conversation. And I love what you said about that.
Yeah.
But I definitely want your entrepreneurs, everybody watching this show, is think about this. No business, and we learned this in 2020, no business survives without revenue. No business.
Yep.
So you can't be embarrassed to ask for the business. Don't be ashamed of it, because they need what you have. The thing is this: if subconsciously you don't pick up that phone, to go back to the question you asked, because you think that you're blocking yourself. No, they need that product. They need that service. But if you're not asking for it, they miss out, because guess what? Now, whatever reason, that very piece they needed is missing, and you are that missing piece. Have the confidence in your abilities.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love this, obviously, because, since we started, obviously, this journey, and especially with the show, once the show started, we started jumping on different conversations with people, maybe a little bit of a higher hierarchy than the people that were jumping before the show was even a thing, right? Because it was a different market. It was a different type of entrepreneur, right? Sometimes the market that we're serving was small business owners, right? Small business owners might have a little bit of a difficulty maybe investing in different solutions, different things. They might try to do it themselves at first, right? And when we try to shift our market, that conversation was a lot easier, right? Because we found a type of person or a type of entrepreneur that has been there probably the longest, that have experience investing and solving those issues, right? So I think that also comes into mind, but that comes with trying things out, going out and having those conversations as many times as possible, right? So, for those that have shows and have these incredible connections or strategic partners, Daniel, you said it, right? No business will survive without the revenue, right? And sometimes when we're starting, because we haven't have that experience, it might be a really tough mountain to climb at first, but as you get moving, it starts becoming a little bit horizontal. Then it's kind of a little bit downhill from the way that we use those those calls. Now with the content, right? It happens very similarly with starting to publish, right? Like in your case, you went out directly. Your dream was to be a professional speaker, right? Like being in front of a crowd and different things. So that willingness helps a lot. But there's a lot of people that coming into the publishing world, right? Thinking, hey, this is a tool, this is a thing that's going to help my business, right? A lot of people think their content is going to sell their product. It's not like that. We still have to make sure that we have those conversations, but to put their thoughts into words and put it out there into the world, it is really challenging, right? So have you, across your experience, right, with speaking on stage and being a published author and now with your incredible show, right? Was there a moment for you that you were like, man, like this is really a challenge, or was it came natural to you because this is exactly what you wanted, right? What would be a piece of advice for those that are reluctant to start publishing and putting their voice out there?
Well, I think you need to know your voice matters. That's first of all. A lot of my clients that I deal with, because I do a lot of business coaching now, is they don't think their voice matters. And your voice matters. Everybody's voice listening to this podcast right now, your voice matters. And maybe you're not a voice to the whole world, but you are a voice to many, right? Let me say it again. Maybe you're not a voice to the whole world, but you are a voice to many. Yes. And the only book they're going to read is your book. They're not going to read anybody else's book. They're going to read your book, and your book, your chapter in your life. That one chapter they read in your book, in your life, is going to change their life. And I can tell you, I get so many messages, man, Daniel, episode number blah, blah, or your episode with the BIZBROS brothers, man, it touched my heart. Thank you. And you don't even think about it, because sometimes in our own mind, right? I even think this is like, well, did I make a difference today? And we're doing it, right? Well, we're out there doing it. I'm just being real. Yeah. I don't have to be, I'm just telling you my heart. Sometimes I think like, man, did I really make a difference? Yeah. And then like earlier, we were talking in the mastermind. Then you get a message from a Cindy says, that event really changed my life. And you're like, it did? Like, you don't realize the impact. Sometimes we don't realize the impact that we make. So I would say for me, subconsciously, I was running from so many things when I started my business that I wasn't even aware of, because I had a lot of inner healing that I had to do. Yeah. I came out as a speaker, and even though I ran multi-million-dollar organizations for many years, I ran from even though I was teaching sales, I was running from sales, because subconsciously it had caused my wife cancer, right? That was my thinking without even thinking it. Wow. I was running from business, but I was running a business. It was funny. Wow. And then the moment came that says, dude, like, you know a lot about business. I'm like, yeah, well, I know how to read financials and I know marketing. I know business. And then somebody says, well, can you help me with my business? And I was like, yeah, but that wasn't my intentions. Yeah. So sometimes in life, I guess what I'm trying to say is I started off as a speaker, and the reason most speakers fail, 90% of them or more, is because they never make it a speaking business. And I made mine a speaking business with revenue, with the product of a book, then a coach coursing. And then as I started like I said, hey, well, it is a business. And this is a thing where most entrepreneurs screw up. Most small businesses, they don't keep their books every single month, right? They keep their receipts in a shoebox. Maybe not as bad now, but I see so many businesses that don't keep track of their finances, right? I said, well, what's your account receivables? What's that? Forget it, right? You already know. Like, you don't know what your account receivables is. Okay, well, what's your monthly revenue? And basic business stuff they don't understand. So as my business started growing and people started asking me questions, then that's when, okay, Daniel Gomez Inspires was established. Now it's Shield of Fate Coaching. Now we do business and executive coaching. But that wasn't my intention. It was really just to be the speaker. But when I was healed from my old self, I was like, I know business. Why am I running from business? Why am I running from sales? Right? Like, talk about this because people need help.
Yes.
So I think I want to challenge your audience right now. Think in your business. Right now, many people watching the show, you have a product within your product and you haven't even realized it. You have a product within your product. And what do I mean by that? Right? We won Podcast of the Year last year. And because of that, now we're doing podcast launching for other businesses, for other entrepreneurs. But if we would have never had the podcast, how can we produce a podcast if we don't have that?
Yeah.
So think about what product do you have within your product right now? And it's a revenue stream that people will pay you thousands for. You just don't realize it because, right, you're not being that problem solver that you can be.
Daniel, first of all, yes, gong moment right there, because everybody in the, like you listening right now, like I'm sure like that sound just went through your head because you're like, oh my gosh, yes, this is exactly what I got, right? And I'm gonna go back to something that, you know, we're chatting on the call the other day, Friday. I stayed on for about 3, almost 4 hours with one of our previous guests on the show, right? She has to be unnamed. But, you know, we're same thing. Like we run a show in a very, very particular way, obviously with a live show and everything that comes after, right? And she has some questions and we're helping her through this, right? And then she's like, what about you guys? And then for 2 hours, we started looking inside of our thing, right? Obviously, we have a service that we sell, the content multi-purposing, right? Content momentum and other things that we can do on top of that. But then with the thing that we do and the way that we do it, we started diving into that. And that was the exact same situation that you just described, right? She goes like, whoa, you have this system and you have this system and you have this process and you have this. And then we showed like how we control and how we handle the conversation with our guests before, during, after the show, right? And she's like, she pauses and she goes like, you guys just created a software. And in my head, I'm like, idea, right? I'm like, what? And sometimes it takes like that external person to come in and see it, right? Because sometimes we're so in it, right? And we're like, or maybe we think like it's not ready yet. It's not this way. And then I remember she's been in contact with probably a few of the best marketers out there in the world because of the field that she works in and the company that she works in, right? And she goes like, what I've seen with you guys is probably one of the best processes out there, right? You guys have to put this out there into the world somehow, right? And she created that fire in me. And it came into a moment where like we were having these conversations for Fonzie and I, because we've received that feedback, right? And sometimes we're like, no, the focus is here, and we kind of ignore it or put it on a side because the focus is there, right? And now we're faced with the decision, okay, again, go full circle about the first things that we talked about earlier, the problem, right? The bigger the problem, the bigger the reward. And we're like, okay, if people are asking for this, we should start listening to that feedback because we can help them somehow. Now we got to figure out a way on how can we bring this to the world that is engaging, that can give the results that it gave us, that we can start doing this thing. And, you know, and I sat down and I couldn't go to bed. I went to bed at like 3 a.m. in the morning because my head was on fire. I'm like, and this is so like, I'm just so pumped because you were pointing it out too. So I want to encourage everybody. I just went through this exercise and it fired me up for probably the next year or so, right? Like, not that I wasn't, but it's like, oh my God, okay, now we have this opportunity. Now we have this thing. Now that we have this service and product that we can help and serve a lot of people that need it, right? Because we've seen the need. We've seen how people can change their life by publishing that, putting their message out there, by communicating with people that they want to do business with. So Daniel, man, I'm so fired up, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Super excited, obviously, that we brought this on, and hopefully Fonzie is like, what the heck? Like, he wasn't here during those conversations, and he's been trying to call me all weekend. Be like, dude, what happened? What happened? Like, and I'm like, I'll tell you after the show. I guess like we just broke the news.
Yeah, well, the thing is just like next month, September 10th and 11th, we're having our Sticker Shock Speaking Academy here in San Antonio. And the thing is, right, they're coming to learn how to become aspiring speakers, paid speakers on stage, Fonzie, right?
Nice.
But the thing is, somebody said, well, what if somebody doesn't want to go to the whole academy and they just get a speaker reel? And I'm like, well, yeah, now they can, right? But the idea came because somebody asked.
Yeah.
And people pay $1,000 for a high quality speaker reel because you're not going to get hired as a professional speaker unless you have a speaker reel.
Yeah.
So that's another product that came out of our Sticker Shock Speaking Academy. You know what? You won't be there for the workshop on Friday, but come Saturday, we'll record you on stage, and it's a product within a product. Or somebody needs pictures on a stage. come and we'll take pictures of you, and you're not going to pay the full price, but we're still going to charge you something. But the thing is, this is everybody has a product within a product, and we just don't realize that it's there. But when you look at yourself, look at what you got. And I would have never thought of that. They go, well, just offer a speaker room. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I mean, that's part of listening to the audience. You just mentioned it, right? People just talk to, is that communication at the end of the day, sales? It's about communication as well, right? It's such I think it's such a basic element that has been overseen by so many nowadays, because technology makes you kind of like fly over the communication side of things, right? It can either be an amplifier or it can mute it completely, right? Because you want to automate everything, right? And you don't want to have to listen to anybody, and you just want to be that entrepreneur sitting in the couch eating chips and, having a automated funnel, but never talking to your clients. I raised my hand because that's who I wanted to be at first. I'm not going to lie. But then I realized, wow, it is actually about communicating. If you want to help people, you got to communicate with them. And they will tell you, like you just mentioned, they will tell you, hey, guess what? There's something inside of this that you're already offering that we want as well. So thank you for sharing that also. By the way, we got a comment here by Fraser Ramsey. He said, when are the BIZBROS and Daniel flying to Scotland? Hey,
Let's go.
sign me up. I can leave right now if you want me to.
Let's go. I'm in.
Yeah, let's go. Again, another one of those wonderful things about publishing and put it out there, right? Like we connect with literally so many people around the world, right? Like Katie, my wife, she goes like, hey, where are your friends, man? Like, what's happening? We're like, we have a ton of friends. They're just not in Jacksonville. Anyways, okay, Daniel, man, last couple questions of the show. We got to wrap up. It's my fault over here. I got to go get the baby. Now, here, best questions of the show. And we can do a part 2. Absolutely. You're always invited, Daniel. But what will be an action point for that entrepreneur that is in a similar situation, right? Where they're trying to make that decision between what they're doing now to go into business, or they're in like that growing stage at the very beginning, right? What would be something that they can do today to move that thing forward?
Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it, and don't ask too many people for their opinions, because everybody's going to give you their opinion. And this is the thing, is people will criticize what they can't duplicate. We said again, people will criticize what they can't duplicate. And your dream is for you. Act today, right? I will act now, even though you don't have all the answers. You're thinking, man, how am I gonna? Don't worry about the how so much. Just take that step forward. And once you decide, right? This is the powerful thing to answer your question. Once you decide to do it,
yes,
you're gonna attract every person in every situation you need, and you're gonna be in the right rooms at the right place with the right time with the right people. Don't worry about it. Just make that decision to step forward. And once you take that step forward, everything's going to fall in place, because if you never move forward, you're never going to know what could have been, and then you're going to be living with regrets.
I love it.
I remember when I was a kid, or Dad would always tell us, right? He would say something that would, say, oh, you should do X, Y, and Z. And then if we wouldn't do it, he would be like, hey, maybe in a couple of years, you might be like, what if I listened to my dad right there, right? And I mean, it happens, in everything right now. If we don't take a risk, we might be living with that what if in our mind. And I think the burden carrying that for the rest of your life, might be even worse than trying and maybe failing, right? So, yeah, thank you for that message. And I hope the listener right now is inspired to go and take action. Just like you said, I will act now. So, thank you.
Daniel, last question is where, oh, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I just want, I'm loving the show.
Let's go. Thank you. Yeah, let's go. Where are they? There we go. Crowd is going crazy right here. Where will you be if you did not publish?
Say that again?
Where will you be if you did not publish? It could be, physically, emotionally. It could be on the business side of things.
Where would I be if I didn't?
Yes.
Well, I wouldn't have Shield of Fate coaching, which would be half of my revenue. I wouldn't have doubled in 2020 and grown in 2021, because when we did our first book, You Were Born to Fly, something that we do with books is we help convert these books for authors into coaching programs. So we specialize in creating coaching programs, and that's a big part of our revenue, because most most like you're talking about content. Most coaches don't know how to create coaching content. They don't know how to create that content to attract that client, and that's something that we actually create the course for itself. And most people don't know where to start. And I'm like, you didn't see this? They go, how did you see this in my book? And I say that because of this book, because I invested, $3,000 or $4,000 back a couple of years ago, right? I got an online course that's automated. Then I do my coaching now, and I wouldn't have had that foundation. So it was a foundation. So never underestimate. Everybody thinks the book's going to make you $1 million. The book's not going to make you $1 million. It's the content, the foundation of the book. Then you're going to build on top of the book. And then that's where the revenue streams come.
Absolutely.
And that's where our Show the Faith coaching came. And
Love it.
we're still growing from there.
Absolutely. I think just what you just mentioned right now, that the book is that foundation. I see, related to content. Obviously, book is a piece of content, right? I would say in the hierarchy of content is pretty high up there, maybe the most important one, right? But I see content as opportunity as well, right? Imagine each piece of content is a little opportunity ball that you can just throw out there and try to hit as many people as you can, right? And then you can get to build on top of it.
Nice, soft, little balls.
Nice.
Not lacrosse balls.
Yeah, no, they're nice, caring,
full of love and
full of love,
servitude, value. Yeah, we had to clarify in case you've run into somebody with a bunch of anger and just wanted to throw stuff out there. Clearly, I'm the dad joke guy. But that did not land.
But yeah, I love that. So, oh man, I think it's so cool. We've been talking about it for a while. It's like, man, we want to write a book. There's
some ideas.
There's so much content too in the podcast to write a book, right?
You need to do it. I mean, the only person you're hurting is yourself, right?
Yes,
not only
true.
that, the people that need your help, because people need your help. And talking about revenue streams of income, something that we started doing because so many people have started coming to us about books. We started publishing some books for our clients. They go, hey, can you help me with this? Because they've had a bad experience. They didn't trust them. So now, right, we've already done, like, these are under our brand. You see the DG in the back. We've already done 1, 2.
That's awesome.
Actually 5 books that we've done for our clients. And it's just the beginning, but it's people need help, right? You're not selling them anything. You're helping them because they need help.
Yeah.
And the moment you realize that, everything else is going to take care of itself. And people need what you have. And I'll end with this. If you have that dream that you've been sitting on month after month, year after year, stop undervaluing that dream. You matter. The idea you have in your mind is going to help somebody. And they need that idea. So stop being selfish and thinking about yourself, and know that you are more than capable. You are more than able, because there's a God inside of you that is so strong, so able, that he's going to help you to achieve your dream. And if God can take mold, stinky old mold, and turn it into penicillin that's good for your body, to heal your body, what can he not do in your life, in your business, if you allow him to?
Wow.
Let's go.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you so much for those words. Thank you so much for being here today. It was absolutely amazing, super inspiring. Inspiring, motivational. I learned a lot as well. So I feel like you left not only us, but the listener, most importantly, with actionable tools and things to do to move their business forward. Yeah. So thank you so much.
Daniel, where can people find you? Where can people connect with you? What's the best way?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, they can get text the word confident with the T to 26786. That's confident to 26786. And they can go to www.danielgomezglobo.com. That's danielgomezglobo.com. And then just send me a message and I'll give your audience a complimentary 45-minute discovery session. My gift to your audience to help them. Maybe I can help them in some way, some form with an idea. And I would love to do that for your audience. So that's text the word confident to 26786. And then also my brand is Daniel Gomez Inspires on all platforms, which is YouTube, right here on Facebook, Instagram,
Let's go.
and also on Clubhouse. So we'd love
Yeah.
to-
We got some links dropped here in the comments, guys. By the way, all the links are going to be right on the description. If you're listening to this in your favorite podcasting platform, all you got to do is scroll down, click on those links, connect. This is so good. Just personal experience. I've interacted in a few calls with Daniel, and it's just incredible what he brings to the table. So go ahead, take advantage of this incredible offer. And also on anything related content-wise, let us know as well. Send us a DM at BIZBROS. Could be your favorite emoji. Doesn't matter what you send. Always receiving it with love.
That's right. That's right. And before we go, look at this comment right here. Challenge for you all. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. How about you go blonde for 1 month for cancer?
Hey.
Okay, we're gonna have to think that one.
Fraser, we're gonna consider this. Always encourage everybody tuning in live so we can actually, comment these things.
Honestly, it sounds interesting. I like the idea. I like the idea.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh man, you just really put us on the spot, man, right there. I've actually had that discussion with Katie, my wife, and she's like, "I will divorce you." So I cannot, guys, I cannot afford that. I'm on a green card. Okay, so
I don't
that's.
know. We'll see. I like the idea. We're gonna put some thought into it. Thank you, Fraser.
All right, with that said, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Content is Profit podcast. Go ahead and follow the show on your favorite platform and on social media at BizBrosCo.
That is right. And if Daniel here helped you move one step closer to your goal, please don't forget to share this episode and leave a 5-star review. Thank you.
Bye, guys.